Seattle Aces and Aros is the aromantic and asexual meetup group for the greater Seattle area. From Olympia to Blaine, from the Cascades to the coast, we're here for you. The Seattle Aces and Aros promote awareness and understanding of aromanticism, asexuality, and related identities, as well as provide community and support for anyone on the Ace and Aro spectrums. We welcome Aces, Aros, Graces, Demis, and more, as well as anyone who's unsure or questioning. Sexual and romantic attractions are a spectrum and work differently for everyone. The following video essays are opinions based on personal experiences. These descriptions of romantic or sexual orientations should not be considered representative of any group. Resilience is not just the ability to respond to a crisis or adversity, but to adjust and continue forward. Resilience is especially necessary when pursuing a life with relationships that may not look like those society upholds as normal and desirable. When it comes to figuring out whether your orientation is on the asexual and aromantic spectrum, that personal journey often requires perseverance and introspection. Since sexuality can be fluid, how someone identifies today may be different than how they used to identify, or how they will identify in the future. Intersectionality is incredibly important with the diverse variety of Ace and Aro people in our local group, as well as throughout the world. It is vital for us to band together not only for ourselves, but for any marginalized people, both digitally and in person. We rely on community for vital support and for our resilience.
Hi, I'm Alexis, and I'm Grey Ace. Technically, I'm Grey Ace Bi, but today I'm here to talk about being asexual. Specifically, how it's okay to come out, however late that happens to be. I came out after I was in my 30s. However, I had a very supportive, openly queer kind of culture I grew up in. Despite all that, I still came out hella late. And I mean hella, because I grew up in San Francisco. So I remember as a young kid seeing, grade school, seeing same-sex couples walking down the street hand in hand, openly gay. And I had queer teachers throughout grade school, middle school, high school. We had clubs for the Gay Straight Alliance. And my best friend came out to me in high school. I remember that day so vividly of him asking to take a walk, to talk about something super serious, and me feeling all these emotions and like I was an ally. And I had a very strong ally mentality until I came out, and it was kind of a switch for me to go from ally to queer. But regardless, what I'm here to talk about today is how I grew up in a very openly queer and supportively queer city and environment and friends and teachers and all of that. And still, I didn't come to terms with my own sexuality until after my 30s. And I really think it's a problem with representation, asexual, aromantic, aspec representation in this space, which is why I care a lot about that to make this video today. Yeah, I feel like it's akin to how language is really important. When you don't have the words to conceptualize, much less accept and celebrate something, it's a huge block to being able to recognize that in yourself. And so going to the Seattle Aces and Aros group and learning all this language about aromanticism, asexuality, action versus attraction, all these models and ways of thinking really helped me to connect with the community at large and connect with these feelings inside myself that I've had but never been able to verbalize. Language is so important. English borrows words routinely from other languages, like fika from Danish, and schadenfreude from German, and mukbang from Korean. It's it means a very specific thing, this idea that isn't translatable into anything else, which is why we borrow these words from these other languages. And the same thing here. In order to recognize and accept and celebrate that part of myself, I needed a language. I needed to learn about asexuality and aromanticism, aspec as a whole, which is why I'm so happy that I found this group in Seattle, and why I think it's so important to have recognition, to have support to learn about these things, regardless of what background you might have come up in. It's never too late to come out, but it's worth it to have more recognition. Thanks.
Hey everybody, happy Pride. My name's Tracy. I identify as, well, I'll get to that. When I was younger, I'll say in my 20s. I'm 43 now. I don't know if you can tell. I did this thing on my birthday where, it'd be your birthday and you got the cake or the pie or the ice cream sundae and whatever it is, and you got the little candle, poof, and you're going to blow it out and you're going to make your wish. And I made the same wish every year. I always wish for maybe this year I will meet a nice boyfriend. And I did that because I thought that was the key missing piece in my life. And I thought that was the key missing piece to get to future perfect. You fall in love, you get married, you get the house and the yard and the dog and whatever else. That future perfect. That is what I'm receiving from my culture. That is what it is to live and to be happy. And, I was this fat, disabled person. And I just kind of wished for that. Because I thought that's what was missing to be future perfect. So I wish for that every year. Years pass, and I just kind of chalked it up the fact that, I was busy with work, or I wasn't really trying really hard, or, because of this fat, disabled body, which I had learned in school was voted the least wanted. My friends made a list, and I was actually, when friends do crappy things and they do things like make a list of who of your friends you want to date. And, I found out I was at the bottom of the list. And I'm really happy that they share this with me because I kind of held it in my head for, my life. And I just kind of chalked it up to that. Maybe that's why it's not working. I kind of tried, sort of, not really. But, that's why I just kept wishing, like on my birthday, like some kind of divinity would come down. It would just happen, like in a movie. And it would be future perfect from there. So in my 30s, I was watching Netflix one day, and there was this documentary on asexuality just there in the streams. And I was like, you know what? For no reason, I'm going to watch this movie. No reason. Boop. And I watched it. And it was just interesting. And you remember those times when you just learn a new word and you're like, oh, that seems important. That's what it kind of felt like, but not immediately. I had to sit with it. It was like a ghost sitting next to me for a while, just sitting there, kind of tapping my shoulder, and eventually fading into me as I kind of realized, put the Legos together. What does this mean? Oh, I think that's me. I think I'm asexual. I think that's, oh, what does this mean for future perfect? What does this mean? And I don't know if every queer person goes through a grieving process when they realize that they are just, not what culture deems as worthy and valuable. They are what they are. But I sure did. And it took a little while. And eventually told my friends and my family. And I met other people who are on the asexual spectrum. The spectrum is totally not one experience. And kind of really started coming to terms with, what does it mean to be me? What does it mean to be this? And how it's okay. And it's totally a thing. It's not a figment of my imagination. It's not something that people make up because they can't get laid. That's totally a stereotype. If you're thinking that right now, don't do that. That's not very nice, and it's wrong. The weird thing about asexuality, as one of the letters on the LGBTQIA P, however long the acronym is, the one thing that's weird about it is you're kind of realizing that you are realizing an absence. You are not, that's kind of strange. And that's a real process to realize that you're missing something, quote unquote. that culture really dictates that you should have. You should have this abundance of sexual attraction for others. And if you don't have that, or if you have a minimal amount of that, or if you only feel that way for certain people, it's a real journey. That's kind of my story. And I hope maybe there's someone out there who has had something similar where they've had a very slow process in figuring themselves out. So I'm just sharing you one more example that that's okay. Just as it's okay where if you know it like that, or if you're a youth today who has all the words and the dictionary of terms that's in the beautiful queer community now, which is so great. Let us continue to support our queer youth so it's even easier for them. But yeah, I no longer wish for a boyfriend on my birthday or a girlfriend or anyone. I don't wish for an intimate partner on my birthday anymore. Not that that's not cool. And, it just isn't. I know now that that's not what makes Future Perfect. Future Perfect is just kind of realizing and coming into yourself, into who you really are, and learning to love yourself for who you are in all its pure, beautiful abundance. So thank you for listening to my story. Hope there's maybe something relevant or valuable in it. But if not, no worries. And thanks a lot. And hey, today's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Hi, I'm Lottie, she, her. I am romantic asexual, and I am a huge nerd. If we were to meet in person, I probably wouldn't come off to you as like, oh, Lottie, the person who's asexual. No, it'd probably be a little bit more like, oh, Lottie, the person who spoke to me for 35 minutes and talked my ear off about the deep lore and timeline of the horror video game franchise Five Nights at Freddy's. I get very passionate about the things that I love, and I am nerdy about a lot of different subjects. I definitely have some nerdy interests in things that are a little bit more technical, and especially I love puzzles. But for me, the thing that I get nerdiest about is storytelling. I actually, wrote some musicals in high school, and then I went to film school to learn how to write TV and produce it. But for me, I don't care what kind of platform the media is on. I am all about the good storytelling. And that can come in so many different formats. It could be a book, a graphic novel, a video game, especially indie video game titles are really cool. A podcast, theater. I love theater and musicals, especially. Could be a D&D game. Anything that you can think of that is extremely nerdy, I either like or would probably like. If there's no pandemic going on, you can definitely find me at a Renaissance Fair at least once a year. And yeah, storytelling is one of the best ways for me to escape. I absolutely love it. And I told you that I went to film school, so why am I not working in film? Well, the other thing about me, other than being ace, is that I am chronically ill and disabled and have been since college. So I struggle with a lot of health issues that doesn't have anything to do with my asexuality. They are two separate things about me. And it is something that, like, my pain, my chronic illness is definitely something that I struggle with every day. And it is wonderful to have so many passions that can help distract me from my worst days and to give me something that I am honestly always excited to return to. It's one of the best ways that I know of to escape and to find that resilience within myself, to continue forward and to find joys in the world. One of the things I kind of wanted to talk about is that there are not very many asexual characters in media at all. There are definitely some more in some of like the less popular media. Like we all know about Todd from BoJack Horseman. Great, great, great. Other than that, not a whole lot of named asexual characters. In podcasts, there are definitely more asexual characters coming into the sense of being. In the Magnus archives, there's at least one asexual character, and there are a couple of possible asexual characters happening in podcasts, but have not been named in media. And then as far as like other asexual characters, not a whole lot of them. And if there are some that are even implied, they're almost always aromantic asexual characters. Part of that problem is that we end up kind of coming off as these like robotic or alien or sociopathic in the case of Sherlock Holmes, especially in the show Sherlock. People who do not have the capacity to care for human beings, which is just definitely not the case for all asexual people. We are deeply caring beings for the most part, and we have a lot to offer the world that doesn't have to do with sexuality. And aromantic people also deserve more representation in media that we are not getting at all. I personally am a romantic asexual, and I would love to see some more representation of people who have love in their story, and it just doesn't have to do with their sexual attraction at all. It would be really wonderful to see more of that in the media that I'm so passionate about. So yeah, if that's something that you can write into the world or create, like that's definitely something that we could really use in our community to be able to find ourselves.
Hi, my name is Macy. I use they, them pronouns, and today I'm going to talk about being an asexual person and being in relationships. Growing up, a lot of asexuals feel like they're late bloomers. They don't get what the big deal is about attraction and wanting a boyfriend. It's really complicated. And I had that too. I didn't understand it. I picked a boy to crush on in middle school. By the time I was a sophomore in high school, I still didn't really understand it. But I did find a guy that I connected with. I ended up dating him for about, I want to say 5 years. From, I think, by junior year in high school to almost senior year in college. I dated him, and it was great. It was fun. At this point, I didn't know I was asexual. I hadn't figured myself out. I had a libido, so I thought, oh, that's attraction. That explains it. I'll sleep with him, and we're all good. But it wasn't. It wasn't great. After we got engaged at one point, he stopped me just asked me flat out if I was attracted to him, and I couldn't answer him. I didn't know that there was a difference. I was happy being with him. I didn't mind the sex, although I wasn't too enthusiastic about it. And he moved to a different city across the country, and we were going long distance, and it was expected that when I graduate, I'd go move out with him. But I realized that I was asexual kind of in the middle of that, and ended up breaking up with him just because of how our relationship had gone, and that we had kind of different expectations of what our lives would look like. It wasn't strictly because I was asexual that we broke up, and he wanted to keep trying. So don't take this as if you're ace, people won't want to date you. That's completely false. I'm engaged right now. Yay! My partner and I are, as far as I know, very happy. They haven't told me otherwise. We actually met on an online dating site. I won't say which one because I don't want to promote specific dating sites during Pride. But it was miraculous. We met online, we started talking, realized we have a lot of similar identities. We're both versions of non-binary. They're agender, and I am a little subsection called Maverick. They have, they're very, very sweet. They thought they were actually aromantic before they met me and realized that they were incorrect in their assumption, which I love the fact that I awakened them, I guess. I might be aromantic. I know that I love them, but I can't tell whether or not that's romantic attraction or something else, so I'm still questioning. But they said as long as we're happy together, doesn't matter. As long as we exist and we're happy in the relationship that we have, we can continue with it. And I look forward to see what our future looks like. But this is what my message is to you, is it's possible to find a relationship that suits your needs. Aromantic people won't be alone forever, unless you want to be. Asexuals won't be alone together unless you want to be, or alone forever unless you want to be. I struggled a lot with what my relationship with my fiance should look like. I always am concerned with how we're perceived by other people, like cishet and allo people. I'm always concerned about what my family thinks of us. But I'm learning that what I need to focus on and really what where the resilience part of this video comes in is I just need to focus on me and how I work in my relationship and how my fiance and I work together. Am I aromantic? Maybe I'll never know. What I do know is that I love my partner very much. I want to marry them, and that's all that matters. So I hope this video gave you a little insight into my life, and I hope you can glean some help from this.
Hi, my name is John. I am 40 years old. I identify as queer and aromantic. I am many things, though. I'm more than just that. And I want to talk about the idea of having a full life outside of the expectations of getting married and having kids. I feel like so much of our society focuses around that. We are raised and taught to believe that that is not only the path that we should take, but that it's the only way we will find happiness and that it's the only way that we will be loved. And it's taken a long time for me to really come to accept that that doesn't have to be true. It's true for a lot of people. It's true for most of my family, and I'm so glad that that's what brings them joy. But I think it's dangerous to put forth the narrative that it's the only way to find happiness, or that it's the only way to have love in your life, or to feel fulfilled. I am a teacher. I teach elementary school. I love it. I have a very fulfilling career. I've been teaching for 11 years now and hope to do this until it's time for me to retire. And that takes up a lot of my time, of course, but I also have other wonderful things that I do with my time. I play drums, for instance. I lead the drum line for the OL Reign professional women's soccer team here in Seattle and Tacoma. And what a joy that is. I've been in the Rainbow City Marching Band for 15 years, playing drums for them, and that has brought me so much love and family and camaraderie and enjoyment over the years, and it's so fun getting to play in the Seattle Pride Parade. And I play poker part-time. You'll see some things on the wall here behind me. I love playing cards. I love watching TV. I also have a lot of that behind me. I go to a lot of conventions. I love meeting other fans to talk to about that. I love meeting the actors who portray characters on TV shows that I love so much. I have local friends here in town that I spend time with. I have friends all over the country. I have friends all over the world. And I feel so blessed to have such wonderful found family in addition to the actual family that I have. And one of the joys of coming to terms with my identity as an aromantic person and letting go of the expectations that if I don't get married, I won't find happiness, and letting go of putting myself in that position of trying to date and feeling like that's the only way I'll be happy. By letting go of so much of that, I've made room for so many wonderful things that genuinely make me happy. My wonderful career, my wonderful hobbies, getting to spend time with my friends, getting to travel. I do a lot of traveling when we're not in a pandemic. Getting to explore writing or creating videos for fandom, getting to work and attend conventions. And as I mentioned, getting to play poker, getting to play drums. There are so many things that I get to do with my time because I have time to spend on the things that I love and to spend with the people that I love. And I still get the fulfillment of being around children in my daily life, in my career, and watching them grow up and watching them succeed. That's been so fulfilling. And I have the love of my friends and family members in my life. And I never feel alone. I never feel lonely, even though I live by myself with my cats. This is how I want to live, at least for right now. I would love to find a best friend to build a life with in what's called a queer platonic partnership, where we're roommates, we travel together, we build our lives around each other, but in a platonic way. That's something that I'm very, very interested in. But I'm not in any hurry to get there, right? I don't have some kind of biological ticking clock like people may feel when they want to have kids. So I get to just live my life and follow it in whatever direction leads me to happiness, whether that's through my job or through my hobbies, my passions, my interests, or through my friendships. And living a full life is something that has been very important to me for a long time. A lot of people talk about work-life balance. I see so many people that I know who are too busy or have taken on too many responsibilities or maybe have followed a path that they were told was right for them that wasn't actually what they wanted to do. And I hope that they are able to find ways to maybe take a step back from something or do some self-examination and think about what truly makes you happy. Because as far as we know, we only live once and we have to follow our bliss. And so I would encourage people to think about what truly gets your heart going, what truly brings joy into your life, whether that's a hobby, a passion, an interest, a person, a community, an activity that you like to do, anything, but you have to be yourself, right? Because no one can do it for you. And so I would just hope that from hearing part of my story, people would take a moment to examine themselves and examine their lives and ask yourself, are you living the life that you want to live? Have you built for yourself the life that you want? Or have you built the life that other people have told you you're supposed to have? I wish everybody a happy Pride, and I wish you a long and happy, fulfilling